Speaking of Draymond Green, though, I want y'all to hear what he said about Stephen A. Smith and the TNT crew laughing at Anthony Davis' head injury and the fact that he was in the wheelchair and all this stuff. He kind of said something I agree with, man. I want to see what y'all think about it. Here's Draymond.
Just don't play with those head injuries, man. They're serious. I saw a lot of people laughing and talk like, but it's a hit to the head. And like one small hit to the head can change everything in your life. So I don't really understand the joke. I don't understand it at all. It's every time you step out on the basketball court, the football field, the hockey, on the ice, on the pitch, you're risking your life because one injury can change everything. You know, we saw in not this past World Cup, but the World Cup before, Neymar have an injury to his back that almost paralyzed him. That was a couple centimeters away from paralyzing him. And so, you know, I don't quite understand the laughing. Why it's so funny that a guy gets hit in the head. Like, the smallest hit to the wrong part of the head can change your life.
I kind of agree with that. I thought it was bad taste for them to even have a joke about it. I get that Anthony Davis is injury prone, right? But I even with him just being injury prone, I didn't see it as funny. Like I don't like laughing at people's misfortune. Like when it first started happening, then it was a cooler joke. But once it becomes like an issue and I have no control over it, you get what I'm saying? I'm a big guy. I hit the floor a lot, and I'm just built in a way that I sustain injuries easier than the next man. Like you don't laugh at a guy just because that happened. Everybody not built Mississippi tough and Alabama tough and all that stuff. Everybody ain't got those big Shaq African bones. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like sometimes you gotta chill, and on national TV when you got millions of people watching you and you got that type of voice, I think you gotta be real careful, especially when you're supposed to be like a big brother in the NBA fraternity. Like, come on, man! Like you seen how they affected JaVale McGee when he was the butt of the jokes all the time, and he said they will bring up Shaq in the food in contract negotiations.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Like you got to be better than that. Yeah, you got to be better than that, man. And the way they was laughing, and the way that people, some people thought that the joke was funny on TNT. I just knew Stephen A. Smith would go capitalize on it, so he tried to do his own version of it the next morning, and he went off on AD as well in a joking matter. He had to come back and apologize on Twitter. But I mean, it's just bad taste, man. What's y'all thoughts on it?
No, you.
I feel like I agree with Draymond. Anytime there's an injury, and I think, man, we spoke about this with the Ben Simmons situation.
Yeah.
Anytime it's an injury, I think we should respect the player, respect the athlete. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't joke about it because it's true. These guys, I think a lot of people forget because we see them so often on TV. We forget that these guys got lives outside of this. These guys gotta, you know what I'm saying? They gotta go home to their families, be fathers, and you know what I'm saying? They gotta do that. So if I'm taking all of this injury and stuff for some people do it for the love of the game, some people do it for the fans, some people do it for both. Like if I'm doing all of this on the court, you know what I'm saying, busting my ass, listen, I get, like you said, I get it. I get hurt a lot. A lot of people say I'm weak, I'm frail, whatever. But the thing with AD, and I mentioned this as well, like this guy is a point guard who grew overnight, literally.
Right.
You know what I mean? So his body is never going to be able to catch up because he's putting so much stress in it, having to work out every day, 3 or 4 times a day. Like, nah, man, it's not cool. I don't think it's ever cool to mimic or mock any injury, whether it's a foot sprain or in this case, a head injury. Yeah. So
especially
I think we do need to be
especially not no head injury, man. Anytime you get hit in the head that hard and you lose consciousness even for a second, they diagnose that as a traumatic brain injury. That's a TBI.
Absolutely. And speaking, I'm a football player. I've had a concussion, and I still see things to this day.
Yeah. And they say,
that, you know what I mean? So I understand.
Yeah, and concussions and TBIs, they say most of the times the effects of it don't even show up for years.
Years.
You get what I'm saying? So you got to think about the head injuries and the head hits that Muhammad Ali might have took, and then all of a sudden, you know, he ended up the way he was. You don't know if that has something to do with his boxing career or not. You get what I'm saying? So
have you guys ever had a concussion or a head injury?
I have. I had a TBI. And look, and
so
not only that.
The first thing they told you after they diagnosed you that no bright light, no electronics and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Where in the midst of his situation, I'm surrounded by bright light flashes and stuff because of how many people it is. You know what I mean? Man, that's a serious thing, man.
It is. And look, and I say this, and I give Lamar and Chris the floor real quick, but I say this. Even if they say I'm not laughing at the head injury, I'm laughing at the fact that he was dramatically in a wheelchair. If a doctor tells you get in a wheelchair, because I mean, we got a player like Chris Boss who lost his career because of blood clots, and I know about that because I had blood clots before. And when I went to the hospital for my clot, immediately when I told them I may have a clot in my leg, they put me in a wheelchair. They don't want you to walk because the clot could move. Hey, don't walk, don't do anything, get in this wheelchair. And I was like, I can walk. Why I gotta get in a wheelchair? So if a doctor tells you get in a wheelchair, it's for a reason.
You get your ass in a wheelchair.
You get what I'm saying? So we don't know why they put him in a wheelchair. As soon as he said I'm dizzy, he kept looking up, trying to catch his composure, but he was dizzy. If you get hit in your head, imagine that if you get hit in the head and you can't shake the cobwebs, the dizziness never go away.
They put him in a wheelchair because they put him in a wheelchair because when you have a head injury like that, they don't want you to fall and make it worse.
Exactly.
He also wasn't walking straight.
Yeah. No. And
it's not funny.
That's a long fall for AD. I mean,
it's not funny. It's not funny. But anyway, go ahead, Lamar, Chris.
It's not funny when it comes to the head, and I understand where they was making the joke at, and I had to reverse my track on it because I was like, yo, they clowning, and I'm like, but to a certain degree, it's not funny. So I was like, oh, okay. Then I had to realize the severity of the injury. I'm like, oh, whoa. So I was like, yo, my bad, because I'm like, yo, that's not even funny. But because you don't want to play with the head. It's a very it's a sensitive muscle when it comes to injuries, and once you pretty much get one concussion, it pretty much opens you up to easily get more. I mean, that's why you see Tua having the situation he's having. And me personally, I think he's but that's another show, another time. But you just to play devil's advocate, we kind of gotta look at the source of this quote. No disrespect, but like Draymond, like I know you do bring up serious points, but I'm pretty sure you might have caused an injury or two the way that you play. Probably hit somebody. I'm pretty sure that you probably put an elbow in somebody's head area before. You know what I'm saying? And so I sometimes you just got to look at the source of where the quote is coming from, and not saying he's wrong because he's not, because it wasn't funny and you can't play about the head, but it's like Draymond, just some of your antics, man. We just saw you stomp a dude out a couple of weeks ago. And what if you cracked his rib and punched your lung? So it's like, it's kind of.
I agree with that, Lamar. I do agree with that. That's like a preacher trying to justify prostitution. Like
exactly.
I get that.
Like how the hell you a preacher saying leave them concubines alone, but you up in the doing your thing on red light district. It's just to me.
Right. I get that. Absolutely.
It's very contradictory of him for him to come from Draymond, and just a little bit. But go ahead, Chris.
So I don't know if y'all saw it. There's a video that's been going around. It was this young boxer who was kind of promising and was trying to do his thing in that world. And the story goes that he started boxing so that way he could take care of his family. he got hit with one illegal shot, and he's
I don't
now
even
mentally
I don't even
disabled.
think it was illegal, bro. I think I know what you're talking about. I don't even think it was illegal.
I think it was. I think it was
Yeah.
back. I think it was to the back of the head. I think it might have been accidental.
Yeah. During the split up, they had wrapped up, and during the, you know how the ref stepped in. Yeah.
So he took an accidental illegal shot to the back of the head, and now he's mentally disabled. And it was like he started boxing to take care of his family, and now his family has to take care of him. That's one shot. Now I understand boxing is a little bit more than basketball, but it's the same. It's the same tell. It's a shot to the head, and a pointy elbow to a temple can ruin your life.
Yep.
And
yeah.
Like Dennis said, any injury you shouldn't play with. You shouldn't joke about. Yeah, we laughed at AD is injury prone. It's funny comic material because he goes
but
up for
it's old by now.
Yeah,
it's old, man. I mean, like these dudes got no talent if they think they got to capitalize on that every single time, man.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Shaq and Charles Barkley are some hating dudes, man. Look, every time, I play Dame Lillard diss track on Shaq almost every morning. I mean, it just makes me feel right. It just balances the world, man. When he say, "Man, you big man hating, mad at my existence," like I love when Dame Lillard said all that stuff, man. He pretty much laid Shaq out. He read him pretty good.
Yeah, but you can't head injuries. It can change you from being a superstar to
a vegetable,
wheelchair bound, relying on other people, can't even wipe yourself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And for Shaq and Charles to actually, I feel Charles has a list from all the shots that he took. Charles is not the sharpest knife in the box because of all the shots that he took.
Nah, that came from Alabama. That ain't had nothing to do with shots.
Nah, I've heard Charles back in his playing days. When you listen to Charles now,
that came from Alabama, man. I'm sorry, man. That came from all that red clay, man. That's yeah.
But to come from that era, that physical era, you ever seen Kenny walk to the board?
Oh, he looked like Bambi.
Kenny. So he not lying. What next TNT? Watch Kenny go to the board at halftime. His knees doing more knocking than cops at the door with a warrant.
Bro.
But you ever seen MJ's fingers? Look at MJ's fingers.
How close his knees is, man. They act as a chastity belt. You know what I mean? Ain't no way you get between them thighs, baby.
Hey, he doing more knee knocking than the girls at Freaknik, bro.
Man,
an intensity roll.
I was watching The Last Dance, and Michael be talking, and he'll be using his hands, and his middle and ring fingers is throwing up gang signs.
Yeah, they're definitely doing that.
Like, you have these lifelong injuries. How can you laugh about somebody taking a shot to the head? Couldn't walk straight. He dizzy.
It's jealousy, man. They see them contracts these boys signing, man, and they see all the stuff they had to go through, and they be like, man, dang, they ain't even playing 82 games, and they getting this much money, or man, they're not even the superstar, and they ain't go through the same scrutiny I went to, and they getting this much money. So it's a lot of jealousy there, man.